Welcome to the Health Buzz Podcast with Dr. Cindy Ross, PhD. Many medical doctors refer their patients to Dr. Cindy for natural medicine therapies focused on balancing nutrition, vitamins, lifestyle changes, and other natural health approaches.
Hey guys, this is Cindy Ross. I haven't done a podcast in a while, and I decided for 2024 I was going to invite guests on. And this is Shane Hale, and Shane and I go way back. Patient of mine, friends. We always chit chat back and forth on Facebook, and he's actually one of my inspirations. So I thought bringing this back, doing the podcast, I would start January 2024 with an interview with you. And one of the reasons I'm bringing Shane on is because we've chatted about alcohol before and going into dry January. This is something that I started in December, going dry, and it kind of started out as a 75-day hard and then 100-day. And now I'm not really sure. I'm not going to say I'm never going to drink, but I definitely don't want to go back to it. Shane, you just completed a 75 hard, back in November?
November 3rd. I got, in full disclosure, I did 73 hard because I quit 2 days before 75.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I did. I've got actually, I can tell you the story if you want to hear it, but I quit on day 73. 2 more days left, and I pulled the chute on a Saturday afternoon. I learned to get the 2 workouts in, you got to start early. I mean, you can do them late, but it's just, you need to get one of them in. For those of y'all that don't know, it's 75 hard is 2 45-minute workouts per day for 75 days. Stick to a diet. Mine was strictly whole foods, black coffee, and water. Read 10 pages of a book and take a progress picture and drink a gallon of water. I added ice baths to mine. I added intermittent fasting to mine, so I called it 75 harder instead of just hard. And but I got to day 73, and it was really, I was kind of ground down, but I didn't get my work in that morning. It was Saturday, it's football season, and my brother's over at the house, my nephew's at the house, and my mom had come over, my dad's there, and it's just pushing like 4 o'clock, and I've been out at the grill. Everybody's just kind of out. It's nice weather. Weather's pretty nice. We're just outside hanging out, having a good time, and just socialize. I didn't talk to my mom in a long time. Like, okay, if you don't get up right now and go get your 45-minute walk in, come straight in, jump an ice tank for 5 minutes, go straight downstairs, work out 45 minutes, you're still going to miss kickoff in the Alabama game.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? I've proven what I need to prove. There's no band waiting for me, no news reporter, no new car, no nothing. Nobody cares.
That's
and
right.
So, I'm done here. So I was done.
Hey, it doesn't matter. It really like I've been reading so much and just listening to everything I can get my hands on since I decided to go dry. And it doesn't matter if it's 2 days or 30 days, or it's your own personal journey, right? So like, it doesn't matter. And the whole point is that you did it for yourself. And it's funny because Shane actually reached out to me when he saw my post about doing the 75 hard, and he was like, hey, you don't have any weight to lose. Like, what do you do? And I was like, alcohol's kind of been one of those things that's been constant in my life for like the past 20, 25 years. Definitely social, but then moving to the beach, everybody's on vacation here every single day. And it's just has kind of been harder and harder. And Shane and I talked about this, like, it's, 1 to 2 glasses of red wine is fine, but it's like, you find yourself drinking every single day.
Even if it's just 2 a day, it's 14 a week.
That's right. And it's calories. And what's funny, Shane, because I told Shane, I'm like, no, I don't need to lose weight. But I will tell you this, though, I actually lost, and I didn't even realize that I needed to lose it, but I had some belly fat that was hanging around from the wine. And so I'm 30 days today. And
how much weight have you lost so far?
I haven't jumped on the scale, but I can see a significant difference in my body fat.
You can see it. I weighed every, kind of a habit of mine, even before I did 75 hard but part of my 75 hard was I weighed first thing in the morning, get up, go to the restroom, step on the scale in your underwear. And before I go to bed at night, I'd brush my teeth whatever time I got in bed, and I'd get on the scale again. But I tracked that. That was part of I had a 1-page sheet of my stuff I tracked every day. And So I started off at 214 the morning I started. So I was probably 218 or so before I went to bed. And I got down to 193 one day. And I didn't know what to expect. I knew I'd lose weight. And I'm pretty thin anyway. I've never been I'm not a big, strong, muscular guy.
Yeah.
I got a big frame, just not a whole lot on it. And so I didn't really know what to expect going in, except I knew I'd lose some weight. I knew I'd get leaner, but I didn't. That really exceeded what I was expecting. That was great. But the thing I noticed back talking about alcohol was, and I've quit drinking before, and I've never had a drinking problem. And there's been times I've been like, okay, Shane, you need to dial it back a little bit. And on the same note, if it got towards a problem, my wife would step in and go, "What are you doing here, dude?" She just wouldn't tolerate it either. So I got that going for me as well. But I've never had an issue with alcohol, but there's been a couple of times where I've just not drank for 30 days or 45 days or whatever. And the thing I've noticed every time I've done that, I've told other people this, and March a year ago, I turned it off because it wasn't getting out of hand at all, but it was just like, okay, I'm drinking too much. This is not, I'm waking up groggy. And the thing I found with me, and everybody's different, but if I have I like bourbon. So if I have a couple of drinks a night before I go to bed, and for me, one bourbon is probably about 3 from a bar. I mean, I'll pour it pretty, not a big glass, but I mean, I'll pour them pretty strong. But if I had had a couple of drinks 3 or 4 nights, I just kind of lose my edge. It just kind of this battle depression before, and it's not helping me. So last March a year ago, I turned it off, and I didn't really change anything else in my life except I just stopped drinking. And I think I lost in the first 2 weeks 7 or 8 pounds. I felt better, not immediately, but within a couple of days, I felt better. And it was summertime, so it's March. It's kind of hot, and I love to grill. I mean, you watch my Facebook stuff. I enjoy going out and grilling, and that's kind of my happy place. And if I can fire my grill up, have a couple of cold beers, start texting my friends, turn radio on, that's I'm happy. That's good. And so that was kind of a thing. Don't say I call it a trigger, but I go out and turn the grill on. I was like, oh man, I want a beer.
So it's like getting on the boat. You got to have a beer, right?
I have a beer. I mean, you want a beer? I want a cold beer. So, but I lost 6 or 7 pounds in the first week and a half or so. That happened every time I stopped drinking. But the thing I really noticed that once you get to about 3 weeks, at least for me personally, once I got to about 3 weeks, my mental clarity was different. My thoughts were deeper. I was sharper. I just noticed a real change in my mental capacity. It was like really, that's wow. I wasn't expecting that. Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah.
Okay. My wife was having trouble a while ago. We're trying to play with Zoom. So I knew that would happen, but when I was doing the 40-day hard and it's biblical in some capacity. I can't reference what part of the Bible it's in, but once I passed the 40-day mark and I had really getting settled into my routine, my eating routine, I'm not drinking, getting exercise, I'm outside a lot. I felt great, but it's kind of like I went through a mental shift. I don't know how long it takes to rewire your brain.
So I was actually chatting with my brother about this earlier, and it's the 1,000 hour, which is like 41 days. That's a huge milestone.
Literally like 41 or 2 somewhere. It's like
that's what it is. It's 1,000 hours. That's where the mental shift happens at. And so, of course, 30 days is a big mark. So, like, I'm super excited that I'm at 30 days. But I think it's 41 days is the 1,000 hours, and that's the big milestone where it's the mental shift.
I've not heard the hour part, but it played. It's just, and it wasn't like I was expecting. I just noticed it. I was out on my walk one morning, and it hit me of like, okay, what if this was just how I lived? Instead of, I tell people, I'm a realtor, you know that, but I'll see people in my office go through the 30-day, whatever, 30-day whole, 30-day cleanse, 30-day Pop-Tarts, whatever the 30-day thing is. And they do it for 30 days and they get results, they lose weight or whatever, then they go right back to what they were doing. And I'm like, you might go back to it quickly, or you might slide back into it slowly, but you're not accomplishing anything except understanding what would happen if you live like this, or at least close to it from now on. And it's just, I don't know, I see people struggle with trying to make good choices and make changes. A lot of them just don't really, I'm not educated like you are, but I've been paying attention for a lot of years.
You're very educated.
Well,
you're very educated.
Reading I say I'm Twitter educated. That's what I tell everybody. I'm Facebook, Twitter educated.
No, I love your
what works for me.
Yeah, I love your posts. I think okay. You're so knowledgeable in the area of health and fitness.
Well, good. If I ever get off base, you can correct me. Go, hey, dude, no, I won't be a
No,
tech.
but like you and I have always been about full transparency. And when I decided to start this, I was like, I'll post about it. And every day someone has reached out to me,
Mhm.
even today. And you never really like, I did a quote, maybe it was yesterday, and it said, you never know if your words are aspirin for someone's headache, right? And
Mhm.
it's so true because, like I'm throwing out things that resonate with me, and I don't really feel like it's a struggle. Like I'm loving this new journey that I'm on, but someone else may be really on the struggle bus and needing to see that or hear that. And so today I get a random message from an old friend that I haven't talked to in months, maybe years, and said that she has, really stopped drinking, been struggling with it, a lot of stress in her life. And last night she was circling around that glass of wine and was about to have a sip. And she saw
Good.
my post last night saying,
Yeah.
if you can stop drinking, it's one of the best accomplishments of your life because it's so hard, right?
Mhm.
And it just I like people always say that I'm the inspiration, but really my followers are my inspiration because that stuff really inspires me. And
Yeah.
you inspire me. Like I love your stuff. And I really admired you when you did the 75 hard because again, I mean, I live in Orange Beach and I could tell you an excuse to drink every single day down here. But for me personally, over the past 2 years, whether it was when I was competing, I didn't drink pretty much for 2 years. Jason and I took a break in 2021 for 3 months. I was just over because that whole 2020 year, I think everybody drank way too much. So
A weird
January
year right
hit,
there.
yeah, January hit of 2021, and we both were like, we got to stop this. And so we took 3 months off. But I don't think that I've hit the brakes since that 3 month period. And so, for me, I was grieving a lot. I'm trying to slow down in life. A lot of past trauma has been resurfacing and dealing with it for the first time because I mean, I've been running 18 hours a day for the past 25 years, running from everything. And so it was starting to surface back up. And I'm thinking, okay, the more that I drink, it'll go away and I'm numbing it out. And I will tell you, I feel amazing. Like I feel so alive right now. And I feel so not numb. Like I'm feeling all the feels, which I'm happy about. My food tastes better. The shower feels better.
Everything's
Like
better.
just little things because I was numbing. I mean, it's a coping mechanism and you just become numb.
You hear that? We got puppies and they just ran
Oh.
inside. Well, our bulldog is saying, "No, you're not coming inside." It's he's barking. No, but you mentioned something that made me think about something. I self-examine a lot. If I could go back. So I went to college. I was getting a degree. I got a degree in business and I got out. I tried to figure out what I wanted to do. I just knew I was going to be in sales, and it just wasn't. It's just kind of where I gravitated to. But I was, baseball was my first love, and my goal was to go pro. I had enough sense to know that okay, you need a college degree. Obviously, you're not that good. And I made it 7 years and had injuries and whatnot, and that didn't work out. But where the heck was I going with that? Hang on. Okay, if I could go back and do it again, psychology is
Yeah.
really interesting to me.
Yep.
And it's interesting from the standpoint of going back to me making the point about I self-examine a lot. Why did you respond that way, Shane? Why did you react that way, Shane? Why do you feel this way about this, Shane? Why? And I try to really kind of, you get older, you get wiser. I mean, whether everybody gets wiser, you live, you learn
Right.
stuff. At least you should be paying attention. So I really try to figure out, here's the person I really want to be. And why do I do some of the things I do? Why do I fail here? But I'm the guy that can go out and literally eat whole foods day in, day out, never eat out, drink water, drink black coffee, do ice baths, things that other people can't do. I can do it. Why can
I'm
I
the
do that?
same way. And I felt like, why is this one thing controlling me? Right. Like that's the way I felt. Like I am such an extreme. I put my mind to something, it's gonna happen. Like, but this one thing was affecting me. And I
Mm-hmm.
felt the same exact way.
Then that's really the question I started asking myself over the last couple of years was I also started really investigating ADHD and ADD. I mean, I started reading about ADD. Like, okay, what does that really mean? I have a hard time following through in a lot of things. I leave a mess. Completing tasks is difficult. My wife's polar opposite, man. She can just stay on track, stay on focus. She's which I like spreadsheets too, but just very task oriented. She finishes what she starts, et cetera, et cetera. Then there's me. And look at her. I'm like, why can't I be like that? Well, I'm not wired that way. And it's a struggle and it's hard. So I started investigating and really reading about, there's information at your fingertips these days. I started reading about ADHD and here's what happens in your brain. Here's why these people do these things. I'm like, man, they're describing me to a T. And so that was real helpful, but also got to looking, okay, on that note of my brain lacking dopamine, I can go do the dishes and get a dopamine hit because I completed that. I can go put the laundry up. That's a dopamine hit. I feel good about that. I can go grab a bottle of whiskey and pour me a big bourbon. That feels good. That's dopamine hit. So I started realizing a lot of times that, it wasn't I necessarily wanted to drink. It's just that bottle was a bottle. What a bottle is, a bottle of dopamine is what it was.
That's right.
And a couple of drinks, man, I was just like, I wasn't like I had a billion I was drinking. I wouldn't even have a buzz. Just have a couple of drinks while I'm doing my grill and whatnot. And I realized that was what that was turning into for me in some instances. And like, okay, that's not good, Shane.
It's so important to be honest with ourselves like that, because it's like, it's like if you grow up in a family of obese people and they're all enabling each other, it's normality, right? Like it just becomes normality to be unhealthy and to eat unhealthy processed foods.
Everybody's doing it.
And it's the same thing, like, being around a bunch of people that drink alcohol all the time, like it just becomes normality and everyone's doing the same thing. But I think it's so important to be honest with yourself and like really self-analyze what you're talking about. Like, why are you doing it? And it's a hit of dopamine, and you can get that dopamine by exercising, by taking walks, by.
But it's so much easier just pour drink.
I know.
That's the easier route.
It is.
That's the easier route.
Like I would look forward to like 4 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon because I knew I was going to pour a glass of wine. But then it goes past that 1 to 2 drinks where it wasn't serving me for the good anymore,
Then
And
I start eating. I get hungry. So I tell people the alcohol has calories. That's fine. That's one thing. But the 2 double handfuls of cashews I eat and a peanut butter jelly sandwich and 4 cookies that I wouldn't normally eat, that's the extra 1,000 calories on top of it. That's where the problem.
Thankfully, I did not get the munchies with it, but just like you said, even just with the calories of the alcohol, it's calories that you don't need in your body. But not just that. I mean, like when you really look at your labs, it's going to make your iron levels like really high because your body's it's not getting out those toxins the way that it should. It's going to cause high cholesterol. It does. If you can moderate it and have 1 to 2 glasses of wine, of course it has, your polyphenols and your antioxidants, and it's good for the joints. But again, in moderation, and most of us do things way beyond moderation. And I'm that person. I text Jason today, and again, I'm on this app. It's called Reframe. And my original mindset was this was when we were on that luxury yacht back in late November. So we just bought the drink package, and my mindset was I'm going to cut back. But I think that I do have a very addictive personality, which can be good as far as my work ethic, playing pro tennis, all those years. But it can also be bad, right? Like, so I don't think that just cutting back is sufficient. I think for people that have an addictive personality or that really maybe drinking's out of control, I think that you have to stop, do a reset, whether that's whatever that looks like, 30 days, 75 days, months, and maybe never go back.
Have a chance to see what it feels like not having this in your system for a while. And one thing that I found with me is I'm so good at sticking to, I don't even call it a routine, a regimen. It's not a sacrifice for me to eat chicken and green beans and the stuff that I eat. You see me do the stir fry all the time, but you turned me on to that when you were, when we talked about diet last year, like I do stir fry. That's not that hard for me to do. Oh, where's I going? This happens to me.
Just talking about like how you and I are like, so like, I don't feel like it's.
I know what I'm saying, but I do better when I don't straddle a fence.
Yeah.
it's best for me to get off. Okay, I'm not eating any junk food right now. I'm not eating any cookies right now. I'm not drinking any milk right now.
You're
I'm not.
exactly right. Like right
It's
now,
easier for me.
it is easier for me waking up knowing that I am not drinking alcohol. Like being on that fence. That fence is hard because it's like, what is cutting back? How much is cutting back? You know, like am I overindulging or what? I don't even have to think about it. It's freedom. That's what I call it right now. Like I
It
feel
really is.
so free from alcohol.
Well, when I was doing the 75, my 73 hard programs, I didn't make 75. Um, I didn't really have any urge to drink at all. I didn't really have any urge to eat any kind of sweets. It kind of ground me down because I was still having to do, my usual stuff. I had a job, I got a wife, I got kids, I got responsibilities. So, to get on the end was kind of tough. But it was two things. One, I'd mentally bought into the fact that I'm not eating these things. I'm not drinking. So it was easier there. But once I got a couple, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks down the road, I didn't really have any desire. I could see a pile of cookies. There's always in a realtor's office. There's always junk food. There's just always people drop it off. It's just looks like a kindergarten lunchroom. It really does. There's so much crap in there. But there was no problem at all to just I had no issue with it. Same thing with drinking. Just I had no issue with it. But I noticed also as things went along, my skin was better.
Yeah, mine is too.
Um,
I can
it was
tell.
different. And so, but as I got closer to the end of my program, I was like, okay, I'm gonna give myself a little bit of the liberty here. I'm not just gonna go back to what I was doing, but I'm not gonna keep doing 75 hard. I knew I was gonna cut the workouts back, not considerably, but I pretty much just kind of quit doing everything. I kept my diet on track, almost on point. I started drinking a little bit, but I quit working out, I quit walking, and yeah, I've put on probably about 10 pounds, I guess, for about 205 now. And I got down to 193 for a day, but that was really light.
You looked
I feel
amazing. Like your pictures, you look you look
I
great.
really got to lose that much weight. Everybody said I was skinny. You are too skinny. Well, I am kind of thin right,
Yeah,
right
no,
now.
I thought you look. I don't
But
know.
I feel better at
I
205 than I
think
did at
it's great to
195.
challenge our bodies and do that, And again, if you decide to do something like this, you got to use it as a tool, as a reset, and don't go back to the same habits
Mm.
because it's so easy to fall right back into that.
Yeah,
I mean, it
exactly.
really is.
Exactly. So I've given myself a little, I won't say liberty, but I've eaten a little junk less, especially the last couple of weeks. There's been a lot of good food around the house and a lot of sweets and stuff. So I've kind of indulged in that more so than normal, but not over the top. I'll
Yeah,
still get the protein in, and occasionally I'll get to a point where it's like I'm hungry. I keep wanting to eat, another cookie or a couple of chocolate covered almonds. Like, dude, go eat some protein.
that's right.
I'll just throw down some eggs, maybe a couple of deer burgers or
That's
something,
right.
and sardines. Give it 30 minutes, not hungry, and it's
Well,
just
and
like,
I
okay, add
think
protein.
too, like what I don't even know what your New Year's looks like what goals you have for 2024. But again, I think it's got to be something attainable. Some people might think the 75 hard is too difficult. And I'll say this, I already do like 95% of everything on there. The alcohol was pretty much the only thing that
Mhm.
I still incorporated. So now that I don't do that, but that second workout is kind of tough to get it. I didn't think that it would be, but it is because you
Yeah,
got to do one of them outside. So, and I hate the cold. So it's been a little bit difficult for me.
I
Um,
enjoyed that part.
but you can, I mean, you can definitely make your own rules. I had somebody ask me yesterday that like they're younger, they want to cut back. And I said, just be more mindful, be more mindful, set your own rules and stick to them, for however many days that looks like for you. But it's your own personal journey.
Well, I think also if you can pick, and I've got a thing, and it's I won't call it a sales tool, but it's a sales tactic. When no, you got a car for sale that you want $10,000 for, and I know it's worth $10,000, and I've got $10,000. But I tell you, Cindy, I want to buy you a car. I really don't want to insult you. It's a wonderful car, and it's I'd like to have it. But truth of the matter is, I got $7,000. Hang on, before you get upset, I'm not trying to insult you at all. No, you can't sell it to me for $7,000. But how close can you come? And then you sit there and look at them. You don't say a word. And it works like a charm. It doesn't always get you what you want, but it definitely gets you to the bottom dollar. But the same thing with all the fitness goals. Okay, here's all the things that maybe you should do. Okay, I don't want you to do all these things. I can do all the things. Okay, well then how close can you come?
That's
Which
right.
ones can you do? Pick one or two, because I'm bad about this. I'll come out with all these things I'm going to change and do, and I bite off too much. And then okay, well, I failed here and I failed there, so I feel like a failure across the board. And if I look back at my year last year, I had some goals for last year. I'm not a New Year's resolution guy. I've never had New Year's resolutions really. But I just bit off too much to try and change. But on the same note, from a health perspective, end of the year, in best shape I've been in a long time. From a faith perspective, I'm still on solid ground, still making progress here. But there's other parts of my life that I need to do better.
That's right.
And my goals for this year, they're pretty simple. Make more money, sell more real estate, but also create some income streams from other things, like get some books out, get some merchandise out. I got, people like that from nose to toes saying, I got a lot of, I hate to say words following, but there's people that watch.
You do, for sure.
And I'd wear it on a t-shirt, but maybe somebody else would.
That's
but
right.
more money. The other thing is less stuff, just less stuff in my life and less stuff in my house that distracts me from those things. And the third thing is more quality time with my family. So basically, if it doesn't fit those three things, then don't do it. Don't sign up for it.
That's right.
And the only hobby I got is my health. I mean, that's that's something I enjoy taking care of, because I'll be 55 tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. So I'm trying my best to, I don't want to tread water through life. I want to be able to live my life and do things. Right. And it requires a lot of effort to stay in shape.
It does.
It does.
But that's we get, the harder it is.
Not too much.
Yeah, no, that's great advice, especially going in the new year, so don't bite off too much. And I say just kind of make your own rules and stick to them, and be honest with yourself. And that's probably one thing that I was not so honest with myself with my drinking. And I text Jason this today. He was at the gym, and we had some hard conversations when we were on vacation back in early December, and stuff that I didn't want to talk about, probably stuff that he didn't want to hear, and stuff that I didn't want to hear for sure. But you got to have those conversations in life. And you know what? He probably saved my life. And he says he didn't save my life. He just helped me get off the dirt road. But it's true though. I mean, like you got to have that one person in your life that will challenge you, that will kick your ass when you need it. Yeah. And, because I have this huge following, and everybody thinks I'm always like this positive person, which 99% of the time I am positive, but
still human though.
Hey, I'm still human, and I go through my own grieving, and I go through my own low points, and you may not see them because I try not to put the negative stuff out there on social media. But it's not to say that I don't go through it, and I try to live my life very transparent. I always say I'm my best guinea pig, because I won't tell anybody to do what I do unless I've gone through it myself. And that's exactly where I'm at right now. I mean, Shane, you've been around. I've been plant-based and carnivore and pescatarian, and I won't tell you to do it unless I've gone through it myself. And so, I'm on this dry journey. And again, I don't know how long I'm going to go for, but I can tell you that I don't want to go back to the cycle that I was living in. Yeah. And you were definitely an inspiration for me, because I really admired you for doing that.
Thank you for saying that. You mentioned that, people, the lady reached out to you today, and there's a saying you probably heard: for every one person that tells you something, 10 more think the same thing, whether it's good or bad. If somebody speaks up and goes, look, you're being kind of a jerk at work or a jerk in life, there's 9 more people behind me going, that's right. They just don't
exactly right.
say it. But same thing from a positive perspective. And I've had a lot of guys reach out to me that there's a Facebook baseball group that is just professional baseball players. You could have played one day in the minor leagues, or you could be in the Hall of Fame, and they'll vet you out. They run that group pretty tight. There's like 15,000 guys in that group, and it's all pro ball players.
I love it.
And I've had lots of guys reach out to me. I say lots, I don't know, a dozen. Hey, can we talk? Yeah. And, there's some of them going through divorces. Some of them are going through alcohol. Some are going through drugs. Some of them trying to deal with, the issues they had with their dads. I mean, just you name it. And they look at me and go, okay, this guy's got his act together. And I'm like, I'm just posting the good stuff here. I'm pretty transparent from the perspective of, hey, I battle depression. I go through this, and so I try and be as real as I can without just pouring my guts all over the table. But they're in the same place I was at 8 or 9 years ago. And I'm looking at guys that are like, okay, I've known this guy for a while. People I knew, you may know Turner Ward. He's from
Yeah.
Saraland. He played pro ball, but Turner's kind of, the Ward boys kind of famous up in Saraland.
They are.
Oh, Bill, actually, everybody knows the Ward boys. But Turner's been he was ahead of me at South. And, Turner's real, he's a, big personality, just a, I don't say rambunctious. That's a good way to put it back in college. But he's settled down. He's a faithful guy. He's married. He's been married forever, and he's got kids. And he's on that track that he's an admirable guy. I reached out to Turner over a decade ago. Dude, can we talk? He's like, yeah. So I met him at Chick-fil-A on Dolphin Street. I cried. He cried. I mean, I needed a guy to talk to.
That's right.
I was trying to sort through stuff I was going through. I mean, past issues. My dad and I had a pretty tumultuous relationship, and I was just trying to sort life out. He was instrumental in that. And there were other guys that I looked at that, okay, that person's, they're leading an inspiring life without trying to. They're influencing me. I want to go talk to that guy and say, how did you get there? How do you stay there from a faith perspective? Because I was, my faith was way down. I was raised in a Christian home, raised in church, but got out and it kind of, it just kind of went down my ladder of importance until my life kind of got tumultuous and I got in a bad spot. And I reached out to those guys. So when these guys reach out to me, all they're doing is going through the same cycle I went through a decade ago.
That's right.
And I've developed a lot of friendships from just guys that have reached out. Some of them I talk to quite often.
And I
try to share what's going on in my life and from a good perspective. And I try to hit all the spectrums that kind of makes me up. And so if you were to follow me on Facebook and then spend a couple of days with me, you're going to meet the same guy. It's not like I'm putting up some facade here that I've got my act together, because I'll tell you real quick, I don't.
Shane, how can they find you on Facebook?
Well, Shane Hale, ShaneHale.
You have a business page too, don't you?
I've got a writer page. I've got a realtor page and I've got a writer page. The Shane Hale, writer. I started putting all my faith-based stuff right on there about 3 years ago, I think. So everything I put there, I put on my normal page, but my main page is Shane Hale. It's just.
Well, I love following you and your stuff. You're always an inspiration.
I try to be. I try to be. And I've had. Also, I've done it for a long time, and I've had a guy at work a while back goes, man, I can post the same thing you post, and 4 people like it. You posted 147 like it. I said, well, hang on a minute. You got to remember something. I've been doing this for like a decade.
That's right.
I mean,
there is an art to it.
it really is. You kind of figure out what people
well,
like.
It's so funny because I like work on good content, and I can pop something out there, and it might get, I don't know, 100 and something views, but I can pop some stupid video of me and Jason and making fun of each other, and it will get thousands of views. And I'm like, why? Why?
Because it's real.
Like the real stuff.
I posted something the other day, and I was in a house, and there was this not old timey, but I have a washing machine just like it downstairs, just your standard 25-year-old.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, like 4,000 people watch that thing.
I saw that.
It's short and it's kind of funny, but it's actual, valuable content. I mean, it's true. Don't get rid of your old washing machines.
I love it. Okay, I got a question for you, and then we'll wrap up. What is your focus word for 2024?
Less stuff.
That's 3 words.
2 words.
2 words.
2 words. Focus. 1 word.
1 word.
I don't think about that. Less.
I like it.
Less. I need less. I need less. I mean, I've been in the same house for 23 years, and I'm a bit of a pack rat. So there's nobody to blame except me. And we're not in my house like a hoarder lives here, but I've been in the same house 23 years. When you move, you get rid of a lot of stuff.
That's right.
And if you don't move it, I got 3 kids, and we had a lot of space to put stuff in. I've got a shed down the yard. We got room to put things, and I've been chipping away at it for a while, but my goal this year is to have not just less stuff, physical stuff in my life,
but emotional
pulling at me.
Yeah.
But my ADD brain can't turn stuff off. And somebody had a good point one time that I'd never, again, in the studying ADHD and how it works, it made a point. It said people with ADHD, everything they need to do is they see it. You can walk in a room and everything that needs to be done to that room, you see it. You can't turn it off. And even when you try to do a task on one thing, all this stuff behind you going, hey, I need to do it, tap you on the shoulder. So the less stuff I see that needs tending to, then the better off I'll be. So my word will be less.
I think And I've been reading like crazy,
You
but
read
it's sobriety, and not just sobriety with alcohol, but with life,
Mhm.
and just being as honest as I can with myself and with everyone around me. So, but yeah, my word is sobriety. That's my focus word
Right.
for 2024.
So if you put us together, we're less sobriety.
I
For
like it.
Southern
I like
sobriety.
it.
But
I like
I think I'd had a drink in about a week. Um, I went to bed one night and woke up next morning. I'm like, I'm just done drinking for a while.
Yeah.
And I did have this. I was going to mention this to you. This is something that's worked. Never is a strong word. Never and always. I think that's the two you're never supposed to say. But it's like, okay, I say I hate saying I like alcohol. I like cashews. But my thought was, okay, if you don't bring it in the house, Shane, it kind of goes back to my not sitting the fence. Like if there's a bottle of bourbon in the house, it'll last for days and days. But I know it's there. Like, okay, this getting kind of dark outside. I wouldn't mind having a drink sitting by the fire.
Yeah.
Sit talk to your wife. But if it's not there, there's no pull. So my thought was, this is what I've kind of came to the conclusion of a week ago was, if you want to have a drink, Shane, fine. Bring home a day's worth. Go to Rouse's and buy a couple of Imperial Stouts and bring them home and drink them, and then they're gone. I did buy a bottle of wine for Christmas Day. I bought a bottle of Pinot from Costco for Christmas Day, and it sat on my bar for several days. Over Christmas Day, I drank it over the course of the day. Which I mean, a grown man can drink 3 or 4 bottles of wine a day. It's
Yeah.
not a big deal.
Yeah.
But it was gone at the end of the day, and there's no alcohol in my house right now. So instead of buying a case of beer or buying 3 or 4 bottles of wine or buying a bottle of bourbon,
Not overindulging. Just
just not having the pull of it. So if you want to have a couple of beers, then stop by the store and literally buy a couple of beers,
that's
and then you're done. That's kind of what I've gotten myself to. That way, it's not a battle. It just goes back to the whole, just as if it's not there, there's no
don't
pull.
think about it. That's
Yeah,
right.
but I would definitely say I'd have a drink with a friend of mine in a heartbeat, at a restaurant or a bar or his house. But just don't keep it in your house.
That's right.
That's kind of my personal landing spot right now for today.
Well, I will say this. Everybody go and follow Shane Hale on social media because he is such an inspiration. If you want to embark on this journey and go for dry January or 75 hard or whatever your journey, whatever you decide to do, I definitely recommend the Reframe app. I love it. Like they have meetings all day long, Zoom meetings all day long about just different things, either health professionals, which I love because they're all like doctors or people in the healthcare business. There's people that have been sober for 90 days, 6 months, 2 days. Like there's meetings for everybody. And it's not AA, it's not faith-based or anything like that. It is just like you and I chatting right now and going through the same struggles, and everybody's just kind of just putting it out there and being super transparent and vulnerable. So it's been really helpful for me. You have daily tasks, been journaling every day and like a gratitude journal and just really keeping up with that. I think it's been super helpful. But Shane, I hope that you meet all your goals in 2024, and I know that we'll be in touch. But you are always an inspiration to me, and thank you for being my first guest of 2024.
I appreciate it. I get a T-shirt or something. There's like a special T-shirt.
I will send you a shirt that says
yes.
less.
There you go. Well, cool. Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it. We could obviously talk for a long time.
All right, Shane.
Just stuff, a lot of
Thank you.
commenters. So
Thank you.
tell you when I say hello.
I sure will. Tell your wife I said hi too.
I'll do
Happy
it.
New Year.
Thank you. Happy
Bye.
New Year to you.